It's around 3:00 p.m. when Broward County Sheriff's deputies respond to Tamarac Village Apartments. They've received a welfare check call about an unresponsive woman. The caller is frantic, explaining that he's been trying to reach his girlfriend all morning. When he finally went to check on her, he found her door unlocked and discovered her lying on the floor in a pool of blood. Officer Barnhill arrives first, meeting the caller outside the apartment complex. The man is visibly shaken, blood visible on his hands and clothes. He identifies himself as Rialto Robinson, explaining that the woman inside is Kayla Hodgson, someone he's been seeing for about a year. Rialto's story is straightforward. He'd been with Kayla the night before, stopping by around 7:00 p.m. to pick up some money she'd been holding for him. Everything seemed normal. She was heading to work her regular Tuesday night shift as a bottle girl at a local Jamaican party, a job she did every week. The party typically ran until 4:00 a.m. This morning, Rialto tried calling Kayla around 10:00 a.m. No answer. He sent texts. They showed as delivered at first, then suddenly her phone went straight to voicemail. No ring, just immediate disconnect. That's when he started to worry. Rialto drove to Kayla's apartment complex. He knew she usually parked in the handicap spot because she had a sticker. When he arrived the first time, her car wasn't there. He knocked on the door anyway. He could hear her little dog barking inside, but Kayla didn't answer. That was strange. Kayla never left her dog alone, especially when her mother wasn't home. Rialto left, grabbed something to eat, kept calling, still nothing, so he drove back. This time, circling the parking lot, he spotted Kayla's car parked on the outside of the complex. He recognized the license plate immediately. She was home. Now banging on the door, getting no response despite knowing she had to be inside. Finally, he tried the handle. The door was unlocked. He pushed it open. Inside, Kayla was lying on the floor, blood everywhere, her neck slashed, unresponsive. Rialto immediately...
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Oh, ma'am, I don't know the address. I just came.
Okay, what is the apartment number? Do you know if that has a building number?
I could go downstairs and check. 1 second, please.
Tell me exactly what happened. Okay, on the phone.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
We're going to continue to update the units, all right? Continue to stay on the line with me.
Yes, okay.
How old is she? Continue to stay on the line with me, okay?
Called 911. While waiting for paramedics, the dispatcher instructed him to perform CPR to pump her chest. He tried, but it was too late. Kayla was already gone. As officers secure the scene and prepare to enter the apartment, they have no idea what they're about to walk into. What they don't know yet is that this isn't a random attack. This isn't a robbery gone wrong. This is the end point of something far more sinister, a carefully calculated plan executed by someone consumed with rage and jealousy. And the killer, when deputies finally enter apartment 107, they find a scene that will haunt them for years. We can't show you what first responders discovered inside because it's truly that gruesome. Blood spatter covers the walls near the entrance. Furniture is overturned, clear signs of a violent struggle. Kayla Hodgson is lying on the floor of her living room, her body positioned near the doorway. The medical examiner will later confirm what's immediately apparent to investigators. This was no accident. This was murder. The nature of Kayla's injuries tells a story of extreme personal rage. She's been stabbed multiple times, nearly 36 wounds covering her body. A deep gash stretches from ear to ear across her neck. The attack was swift, brutal, and unquestionably lethal. But here's what catches investigators' attention immediately. There are no signs of forced entry. The door had been unlocked when Rialto found Kayla. Nothing appears stolen. Her wallet, jewelry, electronics, all untouched. Her purse sits on the counter. Her phone is nearby. Whoever killed Kayla had either been let in willingly or possessed a cunning ability to bypass a locked door without leaving evidence. As detectives begin processing the crime scene, they notice something else. Bloody footprints, small footprints, women's shoe size, leading from Kayla's apartment down the stairwell and toward the parking lot. Two distinct sets of tracks, one entering, one leaving. The footprints are fresh. They haven't fully dried yet. Whoever left them was here recently, possibly just hours ago. Officers immediately secure the stairwell and parking area, following the trail as far as they can before it fades. They photograph everything, measuring the prints, documenting the blood spatter patterns, collecting DNA samples from surfaces throughout the apartment. Then comes the most crucial piece of evidence. A neighbor mentions they have a doorbell camera, the kind that records continuously, capturing everyone who approaches nearby apartments. Detectives retrieve the footage immediately, and what they see changes everything. The doorbell camera footage is time-stamped July 13, 2022 at 5:03 a.m. That's just after Kayla would have returned home from her shift at the Jamaican party. The video shows a woman approaching Kayla's apartment. She's wearing a disguise, a wide-brimmed hat pulled low over her face, a COVID mask covering her nose and mouth, gloves on both hands, but her build is visible, small frame, women's clothing. She knocks on the door, waits. The door opens. There's a brief exchange, though the audio doesn't pick up what's being said. Then both women step inside. The door closes. 12 minutes later, the same woman emerges. She's walking quickly now, her movements hurried and deliberate. Her clothing looks disheveled. She's no longer wearing what she arrived in. Instead, she's dressed in different clothes that investigators will later confirm belonged to Kayla. The woman had changed into the victim's clothing before leaving. She walks briskly toward the parking lot, glancing around as if checking to see if anyone's watching. Then she disappears from view. Detectives run the footage back, zooming in on every detail: the woman's height, her build, the way she walks, but most importantly, they capture a partial view of the vehicle she gets into, a rental car. Within hours, investigators track down the rental agreement. The car was picked up that morning at Fort Lauderdale International Airport, just 30 minutes away. The name on the rental agreement sends the investigation in a direction no one expected. Sakiyna Thompson, 28 years old, address in Springfield Gardens, Queens, New York. A woman from New York had flown to Florida that morning, rented a car, driven to Kayla's apartment, and was captured on camera leaving the scene just minutes after what investigators now believe was Kayla's murder. But who is Sakiyna Thompson, and what possible connection could she have to Kayla Hodgson? The answer lies in a name that keeps appearing throughout the investigation: a man named Terry. And when detectives start digging into his background, they uncover a web of lies, obsession, and jealousy that led directly to this moment. Kayla Hodgson was born June 17, 2000, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. At 23 years old, she was everything her friends and family described as bright, beautiful, and full of life. She worked as a flight attendant by day, traveling across the country, her Instagram filled with photos from different cities and airports. But it was her nighttime job that truly defined her social life. Kayla was a bottle girl, a popular waitress at private events and clubs throughout South Florida. She wasn't just serving drinks. She was the energy in the room, the person who made everyone feel welcome, who kept the party going. Friends described her as everybody's hype man, always ready with kind words, always making people smile. Former employers said she brought real energy to every event she worked. When Kayla walked into a room, people noticed. She had dreams too. For over 2 years, Kayla had been saving money, putting away paychecks with a clear goal in mind. She wanted to open her own cocktail lounge someday, a place where she could bring that same energy, that same warmth, but on her own terms. Kayla had just moved into Tamarac Village, a quiet apartment complex in Broward County. The kind of suburban area where families feel safe, where crime rates are low, where residents leave their doors unlocked and know their neighbors by name. It was supposed to be a fresh start, a new chapter, a 23-year-old woman with her whole life ahead of her. But there was something Kayla didn't know, something she couldn't have anticipated. Someone was watching her, someone was tracking her movements, someone had decided that Kayla's existence was a problem that needed to be solved. And that someone was already planning her murder. Sakiyna Thompson was 28 years old, a skilled nail technician from Springfield Gardens, Queens. She'd built a solid reputation in New York City, known for intricate nail designs that attracted clients from across the city. Her Instagram showcased her work, designer bags, nights out with friends, and most prominently, photos with her boyfriend, Terry. To anyone scrolling through Sakiyna's social media, she appeared successful, confident, living her best life, but those who knew her personally saw something else, an intense, all-consuming obsession with her relationship. Friends described Sakiyna as someone whose entire identity revolved around Terry. Every conversation circled back to him. Every decision was influenced by him. Her social media wasn't just a highlight reel. It was a digital diary of a tumultuous, volatile relationship marked by constant breakups and reconciliations. Between the glamorous nail art posts and couple photos were videos that revealed a different side of Sakiyna's personality. TikToks where she boasted about her willingness to fight anyone who crossed her, where she made it clear she didn't play about what belonged to her. Followers treated these videos as entertainment, the kind of tough girl persona that drives engagement on social media. Laughing emojis filled the comments. No one took it seriously. But Sakiyna meant every word. Her relationship with Terry had always been rocky. Fiery arguments followed by passionate reconciliations, constant suspicion and accusations. Sakiyna would demand photographic proof whenever Terry said he was somewhere. She'd question his every move, scroll through his phone, monitor his social media activity. Friends noticed how withdrawn she became, how consumed by the relationship. But Terry's behavior only fueled her paranoia. He was evasive, secretive, always traveling for what he claimed were real estate business meetings. By late June 2022, Sakiyna's suspicions had reached a breaking point. She knew Terry was seeing someone else. She could feel it, but she didn't have proof, not yet. So she decided to get it. June 30th, 2022, Sakiyna orders a small GPS tracking device online. It's magnetic, designed to attach underneath a vehicle and connect wirelessly to a smartphone app. She pays extra for overnight delivery. 3 days later, while Terry sleeps, Sakiyna slips outside to where his Range Rover is parked. She crouches down, reaches under the wheel well, and attaches the device. It clicks into place, invisible unless you know exactly where to look. Now every time Terry drives somewhere, Sakiyna can watch. The app shows his location in real time, a little blue dot moving across a digital map. For over a week, Sakiyna monitors his movements obsessively. She watches the dot travel to business meetings, back home, to restaurants. Everything seems to check out with what Terry tells her. Then, on July 12th, the pattern changes. The blue dot travels south, out of New York, down the East Coast, all the way to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It stops at an apartment complex in Tamarac, and it stays there for over 3 hours. Sakiyna zooms in on the map. Tamarac Village Apartments, a specific building, a specific unit number. She cross-references the address with Terry's text messages, searching for any mention of Florida, any name that might connect. That's when she finds it. Messages with someone named Kayla, hundreds of them dating back weeks, flirtatious texts, plans to meet up, photos exchanged. Terry had been flying to Florida regularly to see this woman, and Sakiyna now knew exactly where she lived. The rage that had been building for weeks finally crystallized into something far more dangerous. This wasn't just suspicion anymore. This was confirmation, and Sakiyna wasn't going to confront Terry, she was going to confront Kayla. Within hours, Sakiyna books a one-way flight to Fort Lauderdale. She packs a bag. She doesn't tell Terry where she's going. She boards the plane the next morning. What happens next will shatter 2 families, destroy multiple lives, and leave a community asking how jealousy could twist someone's mind so completely. July 13, 2022, early morning. Sakiyna Thompson's flight lands at Fort Lauderdale International Airport. She heads straight to the rental car desk, provides her information, and picks up the vehicle reserved under her name. She has one destination in mind: Tamarac Village Apartments, the address she'd been watching on her tracking app for over a week, the place where Terry's Range Rover had been parked for hours. Sakiyna drives directly there, entering the complex and locating the building, Unit 107, Kayla's apartment. But she doesn't approach immediately, she waits, watching. Kayla had worked the night before, her regular Tuesday shift at the Jamaican party. She wouldn't be home until sometime after 4:00 a.m. According to phone records and location data later obtained by investigators, Kayla's phone shows her leaving work around 4:15 a.m. Her best friend, who shared locations with her on iPhone, confirmed seeing Kayla's location moving toward home around 4:25 a.m. Kayla arrived home shortly before 5:00 a.m. exhausted from a long night of work. She parked her car, grabbed her things, and headed up to her apartment. Her little dog would be waiting inside. Her mom was away, working a flight as a flight attendant for Spirit Airlines. Kayla unlocked her door, stepped inside, probably kicked off her shoes, ready to collapse into bed. She had no idea someone was watching, someone who had traveled over 1,200 miles specifically to find her. Around 5:00 a.m., there's a knock at Kayla's door. Still in her work clothes, probably confused about who would be knocking at this hour, Kayla approaches the door. Maybe she looks through the peephole, maybe she doesn't. Either way, she opens it. Standing on the other side is Sakiyna Thompson, disguised in a wide-brimmed hat, COVID mask, and gloves, but unmistakably there with a purpose. What happens next will be debated in court 3 years later, but what's certain is this: both women step inside the apartment, the door closes, and within minutes, Kayla Hodgson is fighting for her life. The confrontation inside Kayla's apartment was brief, but devastating. Based on blood spatter patterns and the positioning of overturned furniture, investigators piece together what happened. Sakiyna and Kayla argued. The conversation escalated quickly, then it turned physical. Kayla was stabbed repeatedly, nearly 36 times, wounds covering her body, defensive wounds on her hands where she tried to protect herself. The final, fatal wound was a deep gash across her throat from ear to ear. The attack was personal, filled with rage. This wasn't a quick killing. This was someone taking out years of jealousy, suspicion, and anger on a woman who had simply opened her door. When it was over, Kayla lay on her living room floor, unresponsive, blood pooling around her body. Sakiyna didn't panic, she didn't call for help, she didn't flee immediately. Instead, she did something chilling. She changed clothes. Taking off her own blood-stained outfit, she put on Kayla's clothes. Then she attempted to clean up parts of the scene, wiping down surfaces, moving evidence. She dragged Kayla's body slightly away from the door, positioning it so anyone entering wouldn't see it immediately. Then she gathered her belongings, including the clothes she'd been wearing, and prepared to leave. The doorbell camera captured her exiting at 5:15 a.m., just 12 minutes after entering. Dressed in Kayla's clothes, moving quickly, heading toward the parking lot. She got into the rental car and drove away. Sakiyna didn't go far. She met up with Terry, who had flown to Florida with her that day under the guise of looking at real estate properties. He had no idea where she'd been, no idea what she'd just done. Together, they boarded a red-eye flight back to New York that same evening. By the time Kayla's body was discovered hours later, Sakiyna was already back in Queens, posting on social media as if nothing had happened. As word spreads, Kayla's family begins arriving at the complex. Her cousin is first, collapsing in grief when officers confirm what happened, then her aunt. Finally, hours later, Kayla's mother arrives after rushing back from a flight. The reactions are devastating to witness. Family members begging to see Kayla.
Very sorry for your loss. I just went on, so you know. Hey, how do you know her? Your cousin? Okay.
I have to see her. Where's her body?
Hey, when's the last time you spoke to her? When's the last time you spoke to your cousin?
We spoke on Instagram, I think, yesterday.
Yesterday? Okay.
I see my cousin all the
Hey,
time.
listen, do you know her mom?
Yes. My aunt is coming. My aunt is a flight attendant. That's my mom.
Your mom? What? Your mom's here?
My mom is here. My mom is here.
Is that her mom?
No, that's her aunt.
Okay.
So-
Where's her mom?
Her mom is a flight attendant. She's
Okay.
working on a flight. I just finally got
Do
in
you know-
touch with her.
Oh,
So she's coming back right now.
she knows this. Okay.
Yeah, she's
Where is
supposed
she
to
now?
be 8:30.
She's supposed to come in at 8:30. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they live. How did you hear about anything?
Her best friend,
Who is that? What's her name?
Janisa.
Janisa? What did she say?
She said that a guy my cousin talks to told someone that she talks to that he came here and found my cousin.
Okay.
Is that real? Is my cousin dead, really?
I haven't been
Was she in the house?
It's an ongoing investigation, so we're checking into it now. Okay. We can't share too much. You know, we want to. We can't share too much. But
Can I see my cousin, please?
Not right now. So I'm Detective Schneckenberg. I'm with the Broward Sheriff's
Oh
Office.
my
Cousin.
God, she's dead.
Mom knows.
I was just told. Very sorry for your loss.
To pray over her body before it's removed from the scene. Officers do their best to accommodate while preserving the crime scene's integrity. Eventually, they allow 3 family members, including Kayla's grandmother, to go upstairs and pray over Kayla's body before it's transporting to the medical examiner's office. The community is in shock. Tamarac Village is a quiet place. Families live here. Crime like this doesn't happen here. Residents express fear, confusion, desperate for answers. Who would do this and why? Detectives work quickly. The first 48 hours of a murder investigation are critical and they're already behind. Kayla was killed early that morning. It's now afternoon. The killer has a significant head start. But investigators have something crucial: the doorbell camera footage. They identify the woman in the disguise by tracking the rental car she got into. The vehicle was rented that morning at Fort Lauderdale Airport under the name Sakiyna Thompson, address in Queens, New York. That name means nothing to investigators initially. They run her background, no criminal record in Florida, no obvious connection to Kayla. Then they dig into Kayla's phone. Text messages reveal she'd been seeing someone named Terry. Hundreds of messages over the past 6 weeks. Flirtatious, making plans, exchanging photos. Detectives pulled Terry's information. He lives in Queens, New York, same city as Sakiyna Thompson. That can't be a coincidence. They pull phone records, travel records, credit card statements. The picture becomes clear. Terry had been flying to Florida regularly to see Kayla. He'd stayed at hotels near Tamarac, eaten at restaurants in the area, spent hours at a time at her apartment complex. And on July 13th, the day of Kayla's murder, both Terry and Sakiyna Thompson flew to Florida together. That morning, Sakiyna rented a car. That afternoon, both of them flew back to New York. The timeline is damning. Detectives contact NYPD. They need to speak with both Terry and Sakiyna immediately. On July 14th, 2022, NYPD locates Sakiyna Thompson at her apartment in Springfield Gardens, Queens. She's brought to the precinct for questioning. She's not under arrest, not yet, but detectives need answers. Where had she been on July 13th? Had she traveled anywhere? Sakiyna's story is simple. She'd gone to Florida with Terry, just a quick day trip. They flew down together, looked at some properties, flew back, normal trip. Detectives show her a photo of Kayla Hodgson. Does she know this woman? Sakiyna says no, never seen her before. They bring Terry in separately. He admits he knew Kayla. They'd met a few months back, been texting, but it wasn't serious. Detectives confront him with the phone records, hundreds of messages, multiple trips to Florida specifically to see her. Terry admits he'd been seeing Kayla, but insists Sakiyna didn't know about it. He claims he was at a coffee shop in Fort Lauderdale on July 13th, while Sakiyna took the rental car to handle something. He didn't know where she went. Detectives don't believe him. They pull GPS data from the rental car. It traveled from the airport directly to Tamarac village, stayed approximately 30 minutes, then returned to Fort Lauderdale. The timeline matches the doorbell footage exactly. Forensic teams process the DNA evidence collected from Kayla's apartment. They find samples that don't belong to Kayla. DNA on the door frame, on displaced furniture, on items near where Kayla's body was found. They need a comparison sample from Sakiyna. On July 25, 2022, detectives obtain an arrest warrant, first-degree murder, premeditated, demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life. August 3, 2022, NYPD officers arrest Sakiyna Thompson at her home in Queens. She's taken into custody without incident. The news spreads quickly throughout both communities, New York and Florida. A nail technician from Queens arrested for the murder of a 23-year-old bartender in Tamarac. The motive: jealousy over a man who wasn't worth either woman's time. Sakiyna Thompson is held at Rikers Island in New York, awaiting extradition to Florida. No bond. The charges are too serious, the evidence too strong. Then comes an unexpected development. Weeks into her incarceration, Sakiyna discovers she's pregnant, 8 weeks along. The baby is Terry's. This adds a complicated dimension to her situation. Sakiyna, who had allegedly murdered Kayla in a jealous rage, is now carrying the child of the man at the center of it all. From jail, Sakiyna writes a letter to the judge overseeing her case. She pleads for mercy, asking to be released on bond so she can give birth outside of jail. She claims the facility isn't properly equipped to accommodate a pregnant woman. She says she's terrified of going into labor while incarcerated. She writes that she's a first-time mother with no prior criminal record, asking for sympathy, for understanding, for a chance to mother her newborn baby while fighting for her innocence. The irony is stark. A woman who allegedly showed no mercy to Kayla now asks for mercy for herself. The judge denies her request. Sakiyna remains in custody. She'll spend her entire pregnancy behind bars. Eventually, she's extradited to Broward County, Florida, booked into the North Broward Bureau Jail in Pompano Beach. The glamorous life she'd posted about on social media is gone. Designer bags, nights out, couple photos with Terry, all of it replaced with a jail cell. Sakiyna gives birth to a son while incarcerated. The baby is immediately placed in the care of Terry's parents. She won't see him grow up. Terry is never charged with any crime. Detectives determine he didn't know what Sakiyna was planning. His alibi for the time of the murder checks out. Surveillance footage confirms he was at the coffee shop when Kayla was killed. But his role in creating the circumstances is undeniable. His lies, his cheating, his deception. He told Sakiyna he was traveling for work while he saw Kayla behind her back. And when those lies collided, Kayla paid the ultimate price. For nearly 3 years, the case moves through the legal system. Delays, continuances, pretrial hearings, discovery motions. Kayla's family waits. 3 years of grief, 3 years of wondering if justice will ever be served. Sakiyna pleads not guilty throughout. She maintains her innocence. Even as the evidence mounts against her, DNA, doorbell footage, GPS data, phone records, travel records, rental car records, witness statements. Finally, in October 2024, the trial begins. Prosecutors argue the killing was premeditated. Sakiyna had tracked Terry for over a week using a GPS device. She knew where Kayla lived. She booked a one-way flight to Florida. She went to that apartment with intent to confront, to harm, to kill. The defense argues self-defense. They claim Kayla attacked first, that Sakiyna feared for her life and the life of her unborn baby. Then Sakiyna does something rare in murder trials. She takes the stand in her own defense. Kayla's friends and family fill the courtroom gallery. They've waited 3 years for this moment. 3 years to see the woman who took Kayla from them face accountability.
Into full-blown madness. This is the story of...
On the stand, Sakiyna admits she went to Kayla's apartment uninvited. She wanted to talk, woman to woman, about the fact they were both dating the same man. She says when Kayla opened the door, they talked. Then things escalated. According to Sakiyna, Kayla attacked her first, started punching her in the face. Prosecutors press her, "Where on your face?" Point to where she hit you. Sakiyna can't remember specifics, just everywhere, all over her face. The prosecutor asks directly, "This is why you killed her, right? Because she was fighting you?" Sakiyna says no. She claims Kayla took a piece of glass from a hookah and slashed her across the stomach. She was 2 months pregnant at the time. She feared for her baby. She says she grabbed the glass from Kayla and then blacked out. When she came to, Kayla was dead on the floor. The autopsy report is entered into evidence. Kayla was stabbed 37 times, defensive wounds on her hands, a fatal gash across her throat. Prosecutors walk Sakiyna through what happened after. She admits she changed into Kayla's clothes, cleaned up parts of the scene, threw evidence in the trash. She was too scared to call police. The state brings up the months before the murder. Sakiyna had tried to contact Kayla on Instagram. Kayla blocked her. Later, when Sakiyna tried again, Kayla ignored her message. "Did that make you angry?" Sakiyna admits it did. The prosecution argues this wasn't self-defense. This was murder, calculated, premeditated, brutal murder driven by jealousy and rage. Sakiyna had tracked Terry for weeks, watched him go to Kayla's apartment repeatedly. Then she got on a plane, rented a car, drove to Tamarac, found the apartment, and killed Kayla. After 3.5 years of waiting, the jury begins deliberations. October 15th, 2024, the jury returns with a verdict. Guilty, murder in the first degree. The courtroom erupts. Kayla's family cries, not tears of sadness this time, tears of relief, tears of justice finally served. One family member says it's what they all needed for closure, to start healing, to move forward after 3.5 long years. Another says simply, "We finally have some justice for Kayla." They tell reporters that Kayla didn't deserve to die the way she did, and the jury saw the truth. They saw through Sakiyna's lies, through her claims of self-defense, through her attempts to paint herself as the victim. The judge schedules sentencing. Weeks later, Kayla's family has the opportunity to give victim impact statements, to speak directly to the court and to Sakiyna about what they've lost. They describe Kayla as a light, someone whose smile could brighten any room, someone who made everyone feel welcome, who had compassion, humility, and loyalty. A young woman with dreams and ambitions who was just getting started. They point out how many people loved Kayla, how the courtroom is filled with family and friends who came to see justice done. They note that Sakiyna doesn't have that kind of support, that kind of love. They tell Sakiyna she'll have to look in the mirror every day and live with what she did, that her nights will be filled with regret and loneliness, that she'll never see or hold her family again. One family member addresses Sakiyna directly about the jealousy that drove her to murder. They say when Sakiyna looked at Kayla's Instagram, she saw a beautiful girl with a vibrant personality, the complete opposite of what she saw in her own mirror. And that jealousy consumed her so much she wanted to damage Kayla's face. But even with scars, Kayla would have still been the most beautiful girl in the room. more gorgeous than Sakiyna could ever be. They note the irony that Sakiyna has a Bible verse tattooed on her arm, Romans 8:31, the same arm she used to brutally stab Kayla to death. They beg the judge to grant their family peace by throwing Sakiyna in jail for the rest of her worthless life. Sakiyna, who testified during trial, chooses not to speak at sentencing. The judge has the final say. He notes that Sakiyna was in the beauty business, and ironically, it was evidence from that business, DNA found under Kayla's fingernails, that led police directly to her. He states he has no discretion whatsoever in this case, nor would he want any. He believes Sakiyna needs to go to prison, that the crime was heinous in the way she tracked down, located, showed up at, and then killed Kayla. Under Florida's Criminal Punishment Code, the judge sentences Sakiyna Thompson to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She will serve the remainder of her life behind bars. Anything else? The judge asks the attorneys. Nothing further, they respond. Court is adjourned. For Kayla's family, the sentencing marks one form of closure. Justice has been served. The woman who took Kayla from them will never be free again. But no verdict, no sentence, no amount of time can bring Kayla back. They're left with memories of a bright, beautiful 23-year-old who was just starting her life, who had dreams of opening her own cocktail lounge, who made everyone around her feel welcome and loved. A life cut short over a man who wasn't worth either woman's time. This case serves as a stark reminder of what happens when jealousy replaces reason, when obsession consumes rational thought, when someone decides that destruction is easier than walking away. Kayla Hodgson didn't choose to be part of this story. She simply opened her door, thinking she was having a conversation. Instead, she became the victim of someone else's uncontrollable rage. Technology that should have helped maintain trust instead became a weapon. Social media posts that seemed like tough girl entertainment turned out to be genuine threats. And a tracking device that cost less than $50 led directly to a brutal murder. Sakiyna Thompson will spend the rest of her life in prison, thinking about the choices that led her to that apartment on July 13, 2022, thinking about the woman she killed over a man who moved on within months, thinking about the son she'll never raise, the life she'll never live. And somewhere in Florida, a family continues to grieve. They gather on Kayla's birthday each year, releasing purple balloons into the sky, her favorite color. They share memories, hold each other, and try to make sense of a senseless tragedy. Kayla Hodgson was 23 years old when she died. She should be 27 now. She should be running her own cocktail lounge. She should be celebrating life with the people who loved her. Instead, her life ended on the floor of her apartment, at the hands of a woman consumed by jealousy who traveled 1,200 miles to exact revenge for a relationship that was never real to begin with. May Kayla rest in peace, and may her story serve as a warning about the deadly consequences of unchecked obsession.